what if these cases are completely unrelated? And what if they aren't?
Right.
I mean, a retired U.S. Air Force general walks out of his home, his phone is left behind, he disappears.
Yeah.
Then people start looking at other scientists who died or vanished. Suddenly, there are 10 names.
It just snowballs.
Right. And now the FBI is asking the question conspiracy theorists have been asking for months, like, are these cases connected?
Yeah, which is wild to think about.
It is. So tonight we're going to separate what is proven from what the internet believes.
And honestly, the narrative has moved with terrifying speed. I mean, jumping from these fringe Reddit boards straight into the briefing rooms of the White House and Capitol Hill.
That's crazy. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. We have a massive stack of sources on the table today.
Yeah.
We're looking at Department of Defense career records, congressional transcripts, and some really deep investigative reporting from CTV News and Chosen.
Right, a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, exactly. Because our mission today is to figure out exactly why the internet and now actual federal investigators are suddenly hyper-focused on the deaths and disappearances of individuals tied to sensitive U.S. aerospace, nuclear, and defense research.
Yeah, and to understand the sheer velocity of this theory, we really have to isolate the catalyst.
Right, where it all started.
Exactly. The entire avalanche starts on February 27, 2026, with the disappearance of a 68-year-old retired Air Force Major General named William Neal McCasland.
McCasland, yeah.
The details of that specific Tuesday in Albuquerque, New Mexico are they're incredibly stark.
Tell me about it.
So a repairman visits his house mid-morning. His wife, Susan, she leaves for a routine doctor's appointment.
Okay.
And when she returns about an hour later, the house is just empty.
Wow. And the physical clues he left behind, I mean, that's what instantly turned this into an online obsession, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because he leaves his phone, his prescription glasses, and his wearable health devices just, sitting there.
Yeah, on the counter.
And in the modern era, leaving your digital footprint on the kitchen counter is universally read as someone intentionally going off the grid or, someone being forced to.
Right. It's a huge red flag.
But the weird part is he also took his wallet, his hiking boots, and a .38 caliber revolver.
Yeah, which paints a very confusing picture. Because he suffered from an unspecified medical condition, authorities immediately issued a silver alert.
Right, it's a silver alert.
Yeah, which is this specific broadcast system used to find missing persons, particularly seniors, who might have, cognitive or medical vulnerabilities.
Right, right.
So New Mexico Search and Rescue deployed drones. They had canine units scouring the nearby Sandia Mountains, but the physical search yielded just, nothing.
Nothing at all.
No. But the reason this particular silver alert broke through the national noise, however, requires looking really closely at McCasland's resume.
Yeah, because calling him a retired general almost downplays his actual influence.
Oh, massively.
We are talking about the former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory, the AFRL, stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Right. Wright-Patterson.
I mean, he was sitting at the absolute pinnacle of U.S. military science. He managed a $2.2 billion budget.
Billion with a B, yeah.
He oversaw long-term research into directed energy weapons, which is essentially, high-powered laser and microwave technology used to disable missiles, plus advanced aerospace materials and next-generation satellite tech.
And the thing is, even after his military retirement in 2013, he didn't just, step away from the cutting edge.
Right, he kept working.
He became the director of technology at Applied Technology Associates.
Okay.
That's a subsidiary of Blue Halo, which is a massive defense conglomerate specializing in space warfare and missile defense.
Wow.
So you have an individual holding some of the highest possible security clearances in the country, possessing intimate knowledge of our most sensitive orbital defense capabilities, and he just vanishes with a firearm.
I mean, the national security implications of that alone are massive.
Absolutely.
But the internet didn't focus on, Chinese espionage or corporate espionage. The internet zeroed in on UFOs.
Of course they did.
Yeah, and tracing the origin of that specific leap takes us back a full decade to 2016, and the WikiLeaks dump of Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta.
Right, the Podesta emails.
Yes,
Whoa.
Because buried in those hacked emails were messages from Tom DeLonge, the former Blink-182 musician.
Yeah, who pivoted to become this huge figure in the UAP, the Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Disclosure Movement.
Exactly. And DeLonge explicitly claimed in writing that he had been working with McCasland. The implication DeLonge made was that because McCasland ran the lab at Wright-Patterson, he had access to the deepest, darkest secrets of the U.S. government regarding recovered extraterrestrial technology.
Right, because Wright-Patterson is essentially the holy grail in UFO mythology.
Yeah, it's the base supposedly tied to the Roswell crash debris.
Exactly. But we really need to inject some basic operational logic here.
Okay, let's unpack this, yeah.
I mean, McCasland retired from the military 13 years ago. The aerospace and defense tech sectors move at blinding speed.
Yeah, they really do.
So suggesting a shadow agency or a foreign adversary abducted him for 13-year-old classified technology is like stealing a 2013 iPhone and expecting it to contain the blueprints for a quantum computer.
That is a great analogy.
It just doesn't hold up to the reality of how intelligence gathering works.
No, it doesn't. And his wife, Susan McCasland Wilkerson, she actually applied that exact pragmatism when she publicly addressed the rumors.
Yeah, she was very clear.
She posted this very direct rebuttal, confirming he did have a brief, totally mundane association with the UFO community. Like, he consulted on the science for a fiction book.
Right, a fiction book.
But she was adamant that he possessed no secret knowledge about extraterrestrial bodies or crashed ships. She even utilized a bit of dark humor to cope with the viral storm. She noted that unless aliens literally beamed him up, he wasn't taken by a UFO, pointing out that nobody had reported any motherships hovering over his favorite hiking trails in the Sandia Mountains.
Which is, I mean, I deeply respect her capacity to push back against the noise while in the middle of a personal nightmare.
Seriously. But unfortunately, the internet algorithms didn't care about her statement. McCasland's disappearance acted like this massive gravitational pull.
It really did.
Online sleuths started drawing red string between different research hubs across the country, pulling other unresolved and honestly completely resolved tragedies into a single terrifying narrative web.
Yeah, and instead of a string of random events, internet communities began categorizing these victims into thematic groups, which artificially strengthens the appearance of a pattern.
Right. Let's build out that visual timeline for a second so people understand who we're talking about.
Sure. So take the aerospace group, primarily clustered around NASA and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL.
Okay.
You have Michael David Lerks, a comet specialist who died in 2023. Frank Maywald, a space research specialist who passed in 2024. Then in 2025, Monica Reza, an aerospace engineer who vanished while hiking in a Los Angeles forest.
Yeah.
And Joshua LeBlanc, an electrical engineer who died that same year.
Okay, so that's the NASA JPL cluster. Then the red string moves over to the nuclear and academic hubs, like at the Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico.
Ground zero for American nuclear research.
Exactly. You have Anthony Chavez vanishing in May 2025, and Melissa Casias disappearing just a month later in June.
Right.
And from there, they pull in academics, right? Nuno Loureiro, an MIT plasma physicist who was shot in December 2025. And Carl Grillmair, a Caltech astrophysicist, shot in February 2026.
They even folded in researchers known for highly speculative fringe science, like Amy Eskridge and Ning Li, both pioneers in anti-gravity research who died in 2022 and 2021.
Yeah. And finally, they anchored the whole theory with military intelligence figures, specifically Matthew Sullivan, a former Air Force intelligence officer who died in 2024.
Right. And the narrative framing around Sullivan is particularly intense online.
Oh, yeah, because he died right before he was allegedly scheduled to give testimony in a federal whistleblower case regarding UAPs.
Exactly.
When you hear all these names and institutions back to back, it sounds like the plot of a geopolitical thriller.
It really does. But peeling back the labels these online communities applied reveals a significant manipulation of the data.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Are these people actually all scientists? Because the viral posts call them all missing scientists, but looking at the actual employment records changes the picture entirely.
Yeah, it completely does. The homogenization of their job titles is honestly the core deception of the theory.
Explain that.
Okay, so Melissa Casias at Los Alamos, she wasn't a nuclear physicist, she was an administrative assistant.
Oh, wow.
Anthony Chavez was a retired construction foreman.
Wait, really? A construction foreman?
Yeah. And Stephen Garcia, who vanished from the Kansas City National Security Campus in 2025, he was a contract property custodian.
So they weren't scientists.
No. They undeniably worked at or near scientific facilities, but they were not the engineers designing next-generation warheads or reverse engineering advanced propulsion systems.
Which brings up a fundamental question about how these theories gestate in the first place. If their professional access levels don't actually align, what is the underlying mechanism that allowed this theory to just capture millions of people's imaginations?
The driving mechanism is really the current socio-political climate surrounding UAPs.
Right.
We're living in an era of unprecedented distrust in institutions, running parallel to actual on-the-record congressional hearings where military pilots are testifying about objects defying the known laws of physics.
Yeah, that's true. So the public is primed to believe the government is hiding world-changing aerospace technology.
Exactly. So we have to rigorously distinguish the data categories here to make sense of it.
Okay, let's do that. So category 1 is the confirmed fact, right?
Yeah.
All these individuals work near or inside highly sensitive military, aerospace, or defense organizations.
Right. Category 2 is the allegation, completely devoid of public proof, that these specific individuals were whistleblowers or possessed classified knowledge about UAP retrieval programs.
And then category 3 is the full-blown conspiracy theory, that a coordinated shadow government or a highly advanced foreign entity is systematically assassinating them to protect reverse-engineered alien technology.
Yeah, it's the ultimate proximity equates to proof fallacy.
Right.
Online investigators see someone worked near Los Alamos or NASA. They completely bypass the need for evidence of their actual day-to-day work and just assume they were part of a black budget program.
And I mean, that kind of speculative leap happens on the internet every single day.
Sure it does.
But what makes this specific investigation fundamentally different is the real-world institutional response. I mean, the House Oversight Committee, specifically Representatives James Comer and Eric Burleson, they formally demanded briefings from the FBI, the Department of Defense, the Department of Energy, and NASA.
Which is a huge escalation.
Right. And furthermore, FBI Director Kash Patel went on national television and confirmed the Bureau is actively looking for connections to classified access or foreign actors.
Which immediately validates the paranoia for the people tracking this online.
Exactly. So what does this all mean? Why would the FBI look into apparently unrelated deaths? Are they seeing something we aren't?
Well, there is a very mundane mechanism behind the FBI's involvement that often just gets ignored.
Okay, what is it?
When multiple individuals possessing high-level security clearances, even historical ones, die unexpectedly or vanish within a tight geographic or temporal window, it triggers automatic national security protocols.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the FBI isn't necessarily hunting an alien hit squad. They are executing a standard counterintelligence audit.
Let's explore how that actually works. And if foreign intelligence services were targeting these researchers, they wouldn't necessarily be doing it to protect UFO secrets, right? I mean, we are in a highly volatile geopolitical Cold War regarding AI, quantum computing, and advanced materials.
Exactly. Foreign adversaries utilize incredibly sophisticated methods to target cleared personnel. I mean, we're talking digital spear phishing, honey traps, physical surveillance.
Wow.
And the government is obligated to investigate if there has been a systematic breach of personnel security, just ensuring no foreign espionage networks are compromising U.S. defense contractors.
So it is a necessary security audit that, to the untrained eye, looks exactly like an X-Files investigation.
Pretty much, yeah.
So the FBI's involvement leaves us staring at two competing realities. Let's call them possibility A and possibility B.
Okay.
Possibility A is that this is an elaborate coincidence fueled by human psychology. Or possibility B, there is a genuine coordinated connection between these tragedies. Let's dig into the mechanics of possibility A first.
Well, possibility A relies heavily on a psychological phenomenon called apophenia, or the clustering illusion.
Right.
Medical sociologist Robert Bartholomew has written extensively about this. Apophenia is basically the human brain's natural evolutionary instinct to find meaningful patterns in random, disconnected data.
Think of apophenia like your smartphone's predictive text feature going into absolute overdrive. Like your brain is desperate to autocomplete a pattern to make sense of the world.
That's a really good way to put it.
So it takes entirely random, disparate data points, right? Like a missing phone in New Mexico, a drowned contractor in another state, the letters NASA, and it forces them into a narrative sentence that makes perfect, terrifying sense, even if it's pure fiction.
Exactly. And social media algorithms act as the engine for this. They serve you only the data points that fit the predictive text, and they hide the ones that don't.
And the scale of the data pool is what makes the clustering illusion so powerful here, isn't it?
Oh, it's massive. According to the American Association for the Advancement of Science, there are 73.6 million science workers in the United States.
Wow. 73 million.
Right. And with a statistical pool, that massive human tragedy is inevitable and constant. Illnesses, fatal accidents, tragic murders, and unexplainable disappearances, they happen daily.
Yeah, that's true.
Furthermore, the events in this timeline span several years and involve massive institutions that employ tens of thousands of people.
But taking an objective look at possibility B, requires acknowledging the undeniable eerie similarities that force us to ask, at what point does coincidence cross the threshold into a pattern?
That's the million-dollar question.
You have links to advanced materials, nuclear tech, and aerospace. You have the incredibly bizarre behavioral similarities in the disappearances. McCasland, Joshua LeBlanc, and another individual named Jason Thomas, they all left their cell phones behind. Some took firearms.
Right, which is unusual. And the fact that congressional investigators felt the need to probe whether foreign intelligence had a hand in this, well, it gives possibility B a veneer of institutional culpability.
It does.
We know espionage is real, and the theft of intellectual property in the defense sector is a daily occurrence.
True. But if we are going to entertain possibility B, we have to apply the same rigorous stress test to the conspiracy theory. We have to look at the absolute hardest evidence against a coordinated shadow assassin narrative.
We have to.
And that means looking at the police reports, the medical files, and the verified realities of these tragedies. So what actually happened to them?
Well, when you pull the actual investigative files on these cases, the grand geopolitical thriller collapses into a series of deeply personal, isolated tragedies.
Oh.
Take Nuno Loureiro, the MIT physicist. He wasn't silenced by a shadow agency. He was murdered by a disgruntled former student.
Really?
Yeah, a Portuguese national named Manuel Neves Valente, who had severe, long-standing personal grudges and actually killed 2 other students at Brown University as well.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. What about Carl Grillmair?
The Caltech astrophysicist. He was killed by an intruder over a completely mundane, escalating neighbor dispute.
Wow. And Amy Eskridge, the anti-gravity researcher.
That was a heartbreaking end. Her death was ruled a suicide following a grueling, years-long battle with chronic pain.
Oh, that's so sad. And then there's Matthew Sullivan, the Air Force intelligence officer, supposedly slated to testify about UAPs.
Right, the cornerstone of the theory. The coroner's report showed he died of an accidental drug overdose.
Okay. And Jason Thomas.
He tragically drowned in a lake while battling severe depression.
Yen Ning Lee.
She passed away from Alzheimer's disease, a condition brought on after a car accident caused a traumatic brain injury years prior.
Man. And Nick Pope, the well-known UFO journalist whose name was frequently pulled into this web.
He died of esophageal cancer in the comfort of his own home.
So there is zero demonstrated communication between any of these victims, zero publicly verified evidence of a coordinated hit squad, and absolutely no confirmed UFO involvement in any of the investigative files.
None. Zero.
When we lay out the actual causes of death, a deeply uncomfortable psychological question emerges.
Like, why is it easier for millions of people online to believe a shadow government gave Nick Pope cancer than to just accept the brutal reality of biology?
That's a profound question. And the human cost of that psychological projection is devastating.
Yeah, I can't imagine what the family are going through.
They have been extraordinarily vocal about their anger. Elizabeth Weiss, who was Nick Pope's widow and an anthropology professor herself, pointed out the staggering absurdity required to maintain the conspiracy.
What does she say?
She noted that to believe the online narrative, you would have to believe the government somehow developed and implanted a targeted cancer gene into her 59-year-old husband, and that every single oncologist and nurse who treated him was complicit in the cover-up.
Wow. Yeah, when you put it like that, it's just ridiculous.
Exactly. And Julia Hicks, the daughter of the NASA comet specialist, echoed that exact sentiment. She told reporters she couldn't help but laugh at how absurd the connections were, but admitted the sheer volume and seriousness of the online obsession had her deeply shaken. I mean, it's a stark reminder that behind every dot on a digital stringboard is a family grieving a very real, very mundane loss.
Absolutely. The tension here between national security realities and internet culture is profound.
It is.
The government is obligated to investigate potential leaks and secure its cleared personnel, while the internet is culturally desperate to investigate aliens.
Which leaves us with the genuine mysteries that the debunking doesn't fully resolve. I mean, for instance, what classified information regarding these individuals' actual work at places like AFRL or Los Alamos remains locked behind red tape and will ever see the light of day?
Good point. And regarding the missing persons cases that remain open, like McCasland's, we still have to ask if the behavioral similarities, like leaving the phones behind, are meaningful clues to their state of mind, or just the superficial, chaotic actions of people experiencing private distress or mental health crises.
Could foreign intelligence services actually have an interest in some of these researchers working on sensitive technologies entirely separate from the UFO rumors.
It's very possible.
Ultimately, this deep dive forces us to confront why the UFO angle became the dominant narrative, completely eclipsing the very real lives and accomplishments of these researchers.
Yeah.
We started this investigation by picturing a decorated general walking out of his house, leaving his entire digital life behind, and vanishing into the unknown. It is a terrifying image of randomness.
And the suddenness of a disappearance or, a sudden fatal accident is fundamentally unsettling to the human need for order.
Exactly. And perhaps that is the true engine behind this viral phenomenon, when we are forced to face the terrifying randomness of life, the sudden accidents, the aggressive illnesses, the unexplainable disappearances. A grand, shadowy conspiracy about UFOs and government assassins provides a strange psychological shield.
Because a conspiracy implies that someone somewhere is in control.
Right. There is a plan, even if it's an evil one. And for the human mind, believing in a vast, coordinated cover-up is often much more comforting than accepting the heartbreaking reality that tragic, completely unrelated things can simply happen to brilliant people for no reason at all.